Welcome back, warrior. We are reading Genesis chapter 43 today. Oh, last night, we were able to help at the Linden Temple open house, and it was glorious, gorgeous, breathtaking, all the words. But what's funny is I was so distracted by all of the art and the architecture and just like the beauty of the whole thing, like all the pieces that were there, just like chandeliers, the wall with gold leafing, and just like everything like was so awesome that like every time I was taking people on the tour, I had to ask for directions from everyone. I'm like, which way do we go? This way or this way? This way or this way? It was just kind of funny. And then like anytime I got in the elevator, it was like, what floor are we going to? Because I literally can't remember a thing because I am so distracted by like all the pretty things, you know? But anyway, I wasn't too worried about it because eventually I'll be able to learn like that whole temple inside and out because I get to work there. So I think that's probably why I was like, just like in awe, even though like that had been my third time being in there now, but still it was like, you just can't see enough of it when you just visit one time, you know, you got to keep going. It's like the scriptures, you know, you don't see enough of it and you don't learn enough from it unless you keep reading it, right? So anyway, pretty awesome. And then I was able to talk to one of my friends who loves art and is like an art enthusiast and knows everything. And it's so funny because I was like, hey, did you notice the art? And I'm like, which one's your favorite? Anyway, she was just going off and she knew like all the artists' names. I'm like, okay, art sweat. And like, she knew like all the things and so. And I was like, wow, I didn't even get that there were any names on any of the paintings that I saw. But of course, I was also speeding right past them. So who knows? Actually, I was actually trying to walk really slow so that we wouldn't speed past them because I had that experience before. And that wasn't that nice. But anyway, it was awesome. So hope you can go and get there, take your family, because the open house is going on until April 12th, and you can already make appointments to go to the temple after it is dedicated. So between April 12th and May 2nd or so, we're going to be getting trained on our positions and what we need to do and say in the different things. So that'll be interesting and overwhelming because I'm just used to being in the baptistry and now I'm like going to be everywhere and I'm like praying that I don't fall asleep on my shift anywhere because that would be so embarrassing and not very good example, right? Okay, anyways, let's go. So Jacob is persuaded. We're in the middle of Jacob's story, or in the middle of Joseph's story. And Jacob is persuaded to send Benjamin to Egypt, where Joseph is, right? And Joseph's brothers show respect to him. They all eat and drink together. So this is one of those like culminating moments of like, oh, you know, this happened because of that and that, you know, and forgiveness and anyway, all the things that are good. Okay, and the famine was sore in the land. And it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn. Okay, make sure you have your highlighters and things ready that you love to use, and your journal so you can write any notes, promptings, or even sometimes when I'm reading scriptures, I get ideas of like what I need to do for business or kids or family or you know what I mean, or husband. And so like I like to write down things when I get those promptings. And so even if it's just like to dump stuff that your brain is thinking to help you focus on the story, that's also good. Anyway, so, and it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn, which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, go again, buy us a little food. And Judah spake unto him, saying, the man being Joseph, did solemnly protest unto us, saying, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But because like also it is kind of like 400 miles away and a month of travel. So yeah, like he's not going to go back for no reason, right? And Joseph told them not to go back until they could bring his brother. So there's that. So he's like, I'm not going to waste my time and go trekking that whole distance just for nothing, because he said he didn't want to see my face until we could bring Benjamin, right? And then verse 4 or 5. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. And Israel said, wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the man whether ye had yet a brother? Also, that is kind of true. It's like, what? Why did you even say anything about your brother? Like, that's so weird, right? Like, it's just kind of one of those times when, like, people overshare about their family or something, and you're just like, why? Why are we oversharing? It's like when strangers knock at your door, and your kids are like, sorry, my mom's not home, or sorry, my mom and my brother and all people are not home. I'm home by myself, you know? Like, I was left by myself all the time, and my parents were like, do not open the door and do not tell anyone anything, right? Like, that's not the play. You have to be like, oh, my mom's sleeping, or my dad and my mom are sleeping, or, you know, you're supposed to make stuff up when it's complete strangers. That's probably what he's thinking. Like, what? Why are you telling him all these things? Like, how did he even find out we had a brother? Which is funny because, yeah, of course, Joseph knew that they had a brother. So they would have had to tell him somehow anyway, because he was trying to get to see Benjamin, because that's his full blood brother, not like half brothers like the rest of them. So anyway, and then verse 7, and they said, the man asked us straightly of our state and of our kindred, saying, is your father yet alive? Have ye another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, bring your brother down? I mean, they didn't know that, so I guess that's true. And Judah said unto Israel his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die of like the hunger, right? Both we and thou, and also our little ones. I will be surety for him of my hand. Shalt thou require him? If I bring him not unto thee and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever. Now, that was something that, like, that's their culture, is like blaming people, apparently. And so, like, people did not want to be blamed for stuff. They didn't want to be held accountable or responsible for things that were like that bad. And so he was like, I'll just bear the blame, right? So it was like kind of like that, which I don't know. It's neither here nor there, because I feel like, yeah, you need that healthy guilt in order to create that change that you want. But at the same time, it's like you're not trying to blame everybody, all your problems on other people. So it's like, I don't know for sure, but like that, he was saying that for his dad to be able to let him bring Benjamin with him, right? So Jacob had kept his sons home rather than sending them back to Egypt. So you notice that they went through the whole food. So, but by the time they started getting hungry and starving, they were like, yeah, I guess you need to go because we're going to have zero food. And so Judah stepped up and explained that he could not return unless they took Benjamin with him. And he promised that Judah would not return without Benjamin. And so remember, Benjamin was Jacob's youngest son and the son of his beloved Rachel, who died giving birth to Benjamin. And he had already lost Joseph, Rachel's other son, so he could not bear to lose Benjamin as well, right? Because for Jacob/Israel, it was like that was all he had of her, kind of thing, right? Anyway, so Jacob was distressed that they ever told the governor of Egypt that they had another brother, of course. Anyway, so then we have verse 10. Okay, for except we had lingered, surely now we had returned this second time. And their father Israel said unto them, if it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. And take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carry it again in your hand. Peradventure it was an oversight. Okay, so remember, Joseph left everybody's money in the donkeys that they were taking, or the traveling peeps or animals. And but now their dad was like, take double just in case it was like they forgot to take the money. Obviously, Joseph was trying to help them out, or was trying to trick them, or trying to see how they would act, right? So, anyway, then he says, verse 13, take also your brother and arise, go again unto the man. And God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that ye may send away your other brother and Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. So, Israel's at the point where he's like, well, we're literally starving. Our whole family's either going to die or just Benjamin, right? And so he's like, well, I guess if I'm going to be bereaved of my children, I will just be bereaved. So like he just kind of turned it over to the Lord, it seems like, you know. And at some point we all need to do that too, right? The earlier the better, so we're not compelled, right? Verse 15, and the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand, and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. Okay, see how that transpired? Like that was a whole month right there in that one verse. What did they do? How did they play? Were they better brothers to Benjamin because of this? Because of the situation with Joseph? I wonder, were they kinder to Benjamin? Right? Did they get to play cards or whatever, you know, the games that they played back then? I don't know. I'm hoping that they were a lot kinder. Right? I'd like to believe that. Okay, verse 16. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, bring these men home and slay and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. Right? So they were there. I bet Joseph was so excited too. He's like, yes, I told them that they couldn't come back unless they brought Benjamin. But probably was sad when like months transpired and nothing, right? So he was, I bet, so excited by the time that they did show up, right? In verse 17, and the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, I love that. We always go into worry, right? We always go in the worst case scenario when things are happening to us, right? So he's the worst case scenario peeps right here too. And the men were afraid because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time, are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us and fall upon us and take us for bondmen and our donkeys. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house and said, oh, sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass when we came to the inn that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand. He's like, so don't worry, we did not steal it. And other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. And he said, peace be unto you, fear not. Your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. And he brought Simeon out unto them. And the man brought the men unto Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave their donkeys provender, which I think is food. Anyway. Okay, so then the brothers. Okay, so sorry, we're at verse 25 now, but real quick. Jacob finally agreed and ordered his sons to arrive with gifts for Joseph and to take double the money to pay as well as the money they had put in their sacks. Once again, then the 10 brothers headed to Egypt. But this time, Benjamin was in place of Simeon. The brothers again stood before Joseph, and the brothers were afraid to go to Joseph's house, thinking it was some kind of setup or trap, right? But Joseph's steward promised them that he, the steward, was the one who put the money back in their sacks. Then the steward reunited them with their brother Simeon, and then brought them to Joseph's house, where he washed their feet and gave them water and took care of their animals. Isn't that interesting? Oh, so cool. It's the best story ever. Okay. So verse 25. Whew. This incline is something else. Okay. And they made ready the present against Joseph. And they made ready the present against Joseph came at noon. All right, let me see. Hold on, that just sentence does not sound right. Oh, here we go. Verse 25, and they made ready the present against Joseph came at noon. What? That's what I just read. Okay, it's just like a confusing sentence, okay? For they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And he asked them of their welfare and said, Is your father well, the old man of whom ye spake? Is he yet alive? And they answered, Thy servant, our father, is in good health, he is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads and made obeisance. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, Is this your younger brother of whom ye spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep. And he entered into his chamber and wept there. He had so many emotions, I bet, like so many, right? And so it makes sense. So imagine just how that dream, okay, hold on. So Joseph had interpreted other dreams that had all been fulfilled, and now he was witnessing, remember this first dream, the fulfillment of a dream he had as a young boy, the very dream that his brothers had referenced on the day they captured and sold him when they said, Behold, this dreamer cometh. And now, unknowingly, the brothers were participating in the fulfillment of that dream. Imagine how that dream would have helped Joseph understand that this was always part of God's plan for him. He had that dream before he was ever sold. Did Joseph wonder, while serving in Potiphar's house, how that dream would ever come to be? Or when he was in prison for years, did Joseph try to imagine how that dream could ever be fulfilled? But now, here Joseph was witnessing his brothers bow before him. Isn't that wild? It's just like total full circle, right? Joseph then asked Benjamin, Is this your younger brother? Asked of Benjamin, right? And then Joseph hurried and left, right? Because he got all emotional. And Joseph lost his mother when Benjamin was born, so it is not hard to imagine the special bond that these brothers had. Then one day Joseph was torn from his family, and he had not seen his brother since, until this moment. And I don't know how old he was when Benjamin was born / his mom dying. And so who knows how much time, and then like between that time and then the time he was sold. So I don't know how much time he actually had with his little brother, right? So Joseph had to escape into his chamber so he could weep, so he could cry and be all emotional there, right? So, and he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, Set on bread. Okay. And they sent on for him by himself and for them. Wait, hold on. Did I miss something? No, that's good. Okay. So verse 31, and he washed his face, went out. Okay. Verse 32, and he set on for him by himself and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with them by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And they sat before him the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one at another. And he took and sent messes unto them from before him. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. So Joseph returned and ate the meal, but not with his brothers, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, right? So Joseph continued to conceal his identity and kept to the Egyptian customs. But in verse 34, it says that Joseph gave Benjamin 5 times the amount of food. Nice. This could have been because he was the honored guest, and the brothers who had spent many weeks or months in constant worry and concern were now drinking and making merry. They had been received with kindness. Simeon was returned and Benjamin was being honored. Super cool, right? Everybody's like, this is awesome. And he took, okay. So this is, wait, is that the end? That's the end. That is the end. Hold on, let me make sure. We're at verse 34. Oh, yep. Okay, so we're going to find out later what happens. Okay, so let me do the read it, live it. Okay, this is our read it, live it. And it says, God Almighty give you mercy before me now, before the man. I don't know how to read. Okay, hold on. Let's read it again. It was from verse 14. God Almighty give you mercy before the man. Jacob was sending his boys into the unknown. Cue the song Into the Unknown from Frozen, right? He couldn't control the outcome. He could only trust God with it. Sometimes the best thing we can do is hand it over to him. And the challenge is to surrender. So good. Such a good message, right? If Jacob Israel did not send his sons, he would have missed out on on so much, right? So I bet is what I meant to say. I bet they're glad that they were able to go, even at this point, right? Before they even know that that's Joseph. So, all right, until chapter 44, stay strong, warrior.